6 years ago, we bought this abandoned piece of land in Portugal to try to find a new way of living. And so far, we've been building our base camp and living spaces, regenerating the land, while documenting what we do, so we can all learn from it. And in this update, we're going to build a canopy for one of our first living spaces, and we'll explore ways of dealing with rats. Welcome to a new Project Kamp update.
Hey, you might remember the yellow van. We renovated it a few years ago. It's doing very well so far, although it suffers a little bit under the rough weather conditions. Very wet winters, very hot summers, so we decided that it could use a roof. It's gonna be a little project to get the new workspace team started this season. We made a design, so let's check it out.
We used the yellow tarp.
But who actually is this guy working on the design? Let's get to know Istvan.
Hi, I'm Istvan. I'm an architecture student from Nova Scotia, Canada, currently finishing up my master's degree. In my work, I find myself constantly drawn to themes of sustainability, waste, and decay. I'm deeply passionate about history and preservation, and I believe in using design to build real community. Whether I'm riding my bike, drawing on my sketchbook, or physically building with people that I love, I just want to be creating. My brothers and I have followed Project Kamp since the very beginning. I never thought I'd find time to actually be here as a volunteer, but I'm absolutely thrilled. I'm surrounded by like-minded people, and I'm ready to dive into working with these ruins and reclaim materials. Everything I'm doing here is going to travel back across the Atlantic with me. Back home, my family is working together to restore an 18th century farmhouse to live more sustainably. We're currently tackling a composting toilet and planning out future infrastructure. I'm excited to see how the hands-on experience and the mindset I develop here at Kamp will shape the way we build our lives back home. But enough about me. Let's check out our design. We used the yellow tarp which was laying around camp and old lumber from past projects. We designed a simple frame that shelters people from the sun and rain while also letting wind pass through it. The design is also on a hinge system which allows the user to fold it closed during heavy storms and when the van's not in use. Enough about the design. Let's go get some wood.
After planing and cutting, Istvan kept sanding, while Lobke measured and cut a notch. We needed this notch so the canopy could be mounted at the right angle. Sanding comes with a lot of dust. We removed the dust with the compressor so we could oil the wood later.
You might recognize this tarp. It used to be the roof in front of the workspace. We're going to give it a clean and try and patch these holes. Okay, we have moved the tarp under these covered areas so it dries and we have a good surface to work with. Now we're gonna cut it to size and start prepping the patches. Okay, we only have 5 spots to patch. This one is quite big. This is tiny. This is tiny, tiny, and tiny. So let's make the patches and glue them.
We're finished for today. We cut all the beams to size and treated them. The yellow tarp is also cut to size and the holes are fixed. Both of them are drying at the moment, so we can assemble tomorrow.
Hole here and a hole here, and the rope goes from here to here.
Yeah, underneath
Underneath.
there.
Let's first put the grommet
Yeah.
so that the tarp is tensioned on how it will really be.
Yeah.
So this won't be this floppy because
No,
we're
but
gonna
you
have this here.
yeah, but it needs to be slightly floppy. We should not tighten it too much, right?
Yeah, but we like this here. The tarp has to go to the bottom of the beam.
Yeah.
We assembled our frame, we finished our hinge beam, and we prepared our tarp. So now it's time to dry fit.
Who wants to go first?
I think Mariana, then I can hold it. A bit. You're right?
I think the right one.
Yeah.
This,
yeah.
yeah.
And the screws too, please.
This piece was a bit too long, so we had to cut it off with the handsaw on the next day. Once that was finished, we could use the existing channels and rope to attach the tarp to the rafters. We are attaching it to every other rafter. This is to make a wavy pattern in the tarp, so that it creates channels for the rain to flow down and the wind can still go through without tearing the tarp.
I'm gonna set it on fire. No.
12.8, 10.5.
Last one. What? That's something.
The tarp is fully built. Now all that's left is actually mounting it to the yellow van. And so the yellow tarp left the workspace to go to its new home. These sockets will hold the support brackets in place once the canopy is opened.
Oh, I just pinched. Me too, the exact finger.
You need to rest somewhere.
Can we rest it somewhere?
You guys have?
No. I have one. We go a little bit forward, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Hinge, hopefully. Like that. Okay. I've rested on my side, so
Okay.
you
Okay.
need support there.
Okay. Good job. Okay, it is secure.
It's self-supporting right.
Final screws put in, and all that is left is cutting off the axis of the vertical supports.
We have a yellow van, a yellow tarp. I think we need more yellow.
Now the yellow van has a nice spot where people can sit down in the shade. And more importantly, its entrance is shielded from the rain. Here you can see that the tarp on the frame isn't fully stretched. It may not look the prettiest, but it's better for airflow and water management.
So now we've got the yellow van nice and fixed up, and it's a good warm-up for the workspace this season, as there's lots of other projects coming this year. And speaking of things warming up, we're gonna go take a look at the compost bins now, because we got another thing to go fix over there. If you watched Update 170, you might have heard that we had some rats hanging around base camp. But since we've cleaned up the kitchen and we have a lot more people in base camp, the rats aren't hanging around there so much. There is a structure behind the kitchen though, so let me show you around there. Okay, so here are our lovely compost bins. They are a couple of years old now, and they were created in a previous update back in season 4. And since then, we've been getting to use them a lot better, developing our ways of using them and how to make better compost. But we have come up against the issue of rats here, and this is kind of the perfect hotel for hosting rats. We're going to take a little look around and see why they love it so much. In previous years, we stored a lot of wood here, and we actually created quite a big pile last season, and that just made things worse. The wood pile is the perfect little shelter for rats to live in. The spot is also right beside the kitchen, and you would think they would go there for food scraps, but more realistically, there are lots of gaps in the compost here, and this is perfectly accessible for them to go in and out, and they used to take it to their little home, which was here. So I think if I were a rat, this would be my go-to place. This is party central, and it's probably the reason why we've seen so many rats in and around these bins. What we don't want is to have them in our living area, and for that we're going to need to design a solution for rat-proofing these bins and for giving a little bit of love and care to the things which are slowly falling apart over the years. That isn't really my area of expertise though, so maybe I'm going to need a little bit of help from someone.
Let's figure out a way together to fix these things.
Hell yeah.
So as you can see, we've used pallets because it's a very accessible product, but now there's a problem with all the holes and rats can come in it. So our solution for now is to put wire mesh on all sides, the bottom, sides, and some of the cracks at the top, so the rats can't come into our beautiful compost. For the front part of the bins, we have these panels, which have these lovely handles in it, but it creates a lot of access points for the rats. So we're going to find a way to secure them together and cover the holes. So the compost bins need some love and care, like these loose boards and screws. So we're going to tighten them up and fix it. Also, the front rail has been pushed out from the compost, so we're going to tighten things up and make it nice. Let's get to work.
So obviously before we can fill these with wire mesh, we gotta empty them. And the way our system works out is that this one has our fresh food scraps, this one has our ready to use compost, and this one's already been used. So we've got a head start with this. We're gonna empty both of these so that we can make our repairs and we can dig out the surroundings of the floor for installing the mesh.
So we got this metal wire mesh that we're going to use to line the interiors of the bins. We think this is a right enough gauge that it's going to be rat proof and they can't eat through it. We've rolled out our mesh, we've got our dimensions for the interior of the bin. Just have to cut it and place it inside. Let's go. Rat proof. Rat. We've used a bit too much material. As you can see here, the overlap doesn't have to go all the way across the whole piece of wood. It can just be on the outer edge. And with the corners being turned now in a radius, we've used this much more material than we're supposed to. So next couple ones will be better with our material usage.
So the current system that we have with our front panels on the compost bins is that there are 7 separate parts which can be lifted in and out individually, and that is a nice system for being able to access it, and it was very cool that it was developed in previous season. But unfortunately that allows 7 different access points for the rats to enter. So one way that we're going to avoid that is by grouping them together into 2 separate parts for a top and a bottom, which can be lifted in and out. And to reduce the amount of mesh which is needed to fill each of these gaps, we're going to flip them in this way, causing 2 holes which can still be used as handles to lift the big part, and another one with the top, and the top can be covered, only requiring a couple strips of mesh. It's nice and efficient. So finally, all of the top area has been sealed and secured. All these little bits, the finishing touches.
So we've added this wood strip on the bottom to make a flat surface so the joint against the bottom panel is flush. If not, you get a wavy and kind of holy entrance with the mesh for the rats to go in. So let's check it out. Much better than a wavy bottom.
And this third bin over here has our current food scraps, which have been composted in the last few weeks. So now that we have this free bin, means we can empty the contents in there and we can free this up for the last bit of rat proofing. And just to give a very cool glimpse into how hot our compost currently is, we wanted to use this thermal camera from season 3 and take a look inside the contents. So we're gonna switch over to our thermal camera here. We have Mr. Istvan gonna dig a big hole right into the center. And these are our fresh food scraps from the last few days. Temperature is 63. It's steamy. Maybe we can switch back to the main camera just to see how much steam is coming out. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. We got some hot compost. Woo-woo! Seems to be active. So let's switch it over to the next bin. Let's get shoveling. Hey! That feels like a regular hole.
Yeah, we're good. Rat?
He's right there. If you walk very slowly, never mind.
No way!
Hey.
Oh.
You got so confused. And while the last bin's being wrap-proofed by Istvan, we could focus on creating some handles for the lids.
So now we're gonna attach the beam to the front to close this gap.
And so that we can get a good grip on the doors, we're getting some very bendy mimosa branches, which we are not in short supply of in the land. And we're going to use them as handles for the top of the bins. Stick.
It was so much work to make all of this fit. Especially if you look here, we had to get really creative. Because this board was just through moisture or drying or whatever, so deformed that it twisted the whole thing up. So this would never really close. Even now you have like a 5mm wiggle. So the only option that we had, instead of taking all of the boards out and planing them and whatever, was to just add this in the bottom, prop this edge up, so give the board even a stronger twist to make it work. Not beautiful, but we conquered everything and everything fits now.
This last bin here on the corner, it only has wood chips in it. Compost needs its greens and its brines, its nitrogens and its carbons, and our food scraps are one part of that. But the other part that we choose is to use compost. And previously, we've tried that out for several seasons. We've done a bit of research on how that's gone for us, and you can check that out in the research module. But we are gonna now try switching to straw while the stock is low anyway, and while we have our new setup coming, we're gonna try a bit differently and research that over the next year. We already have some over in the Poop Palace, so I'm gonna bring that over and we can store some in here, as we've already got the space for it. Easy. And one thing there's no shortage of in our land is a bunch of old bricks. So we can put these on the ground to prop the hay bales up and prevent it from rotting just so quickly, being in contact with the ground. And we've still got 3 leftover boards, so we can board it up a bit at the front to prevent any from falling out so easily. And thankfully, this one doesn't have to be wrap proof because there's not going to be any food scraps in it. So we can just store our hay in here for now. It's just before George comes for the season to cut some more fresh hay for us. But in the meantime, this should be enough to start our first bin. And now we have our next bin to start composting our current food scraps. So we're gonna start using the hay that we've got here. And if you're curious about how the composting goes for that, you can check it out in the research module. So that is all for this week. If you like what we're doing here, you can apply to join us through support.projectkamp.com, where we're still looking for volunteers. Or if you want to support from home, then you can subscribe to us on Patreon, where you see the videos in 4K, without ads, and 2 weeks ahead. Otherwise, feel free to subscribe to the channel with a bell notification, and we'll see you guys back next week. Thanks for watching.